Hey everybody, welcome into the Beehive. I'm your host, TheBee at LLC, and this is where we stack precious metals like it's pollen and nectar. And today we're going to be speaking with Everard of ARK S.G.O. He has a brick and mortar store located in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. Let's bring him up and see what he has to say. Ian, welcome in.
Thank you. Hi there, long lived.
Hello, hello. How is things in Jackson Hole?
The phone has been busy. My gosh, we have been working really hard, sourcing metal, getting the deals. Some new clients spending a lot, and some existing clients waking up. They're not going to see it at $32 again, particularly silver.
Yeah. So you're seeing some new names coming in.
Yeah.
Good deal.
I think we're going to see a lot more with Morgan Stanley. I don't know if you caught up the news, but they said that every portfolio should have 20% gold.
Yeah.
Do they know how to use a desk calculator or a slide rule or an abacus? They're calling for, I don't know, adding zeros to the price of gold and hence the price of silver.
Right? Like that's what I was expecting, like maybe 60, 35, 5 or something, for a first step. But no,
1.5.
Wow.
They've gone straight from 0 to 20.
That's just amazing.
And it's not just them. Some other Wall Street top names are coming in saying people are light on gold.
Who's that? Gunlock, the Bond King, they call him.
Jeffrey Gunlock. Yeah.
Same thing. 20%, I think he said too, didn't he?
And it's too late. It's never too late because there's always enough gold, but it's just what price is that gold?
It's going to be too late for people like me if that 20% starts moving.
Well, you can always get your 1,000th ounce.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. That's pretty amazing. And I always hear Rick Rule say 0.5% is pretty much what's invested in the U.S. right now.
That figure is assets under management, so it's a distortion.
Okay.
Because that includes real estate and some other stuff so that is a little bit of a distortion.
Okay.
But it shows. I mean, the assets under management are in the hundreds, probably 700 trillion, 800 trillion, 900 trillion.
Wow.
Quadrillion. It's like,
man.
But what's going to happen is it's a bit of both. Some of that evaporates because it gets revealed that it never existed. It's just a fugazi, a mirage. Some of it does migrate into real stuff, and the dollar-nominated price of the real stuff goes up. Gold typically leads the charge. I think real estate has done to some extent because it's a great basket of goods and services and materials: concrete, steel, glass, lumber, sheetrock, paint, copper, plastics. It's a big range from a diverse industries to build a house now.
Indeed.
So the cost of real estate, or the cost of construction per square foot, is being a good canary of actual inflation.
Good barometer
in times of inflation, people who tend to make and build stuff that is essential tend to keep up. Their wages rise, hence why it costs so much for a plumber, an electrician, and a carpenter, and a painter. They tend to keep up because people have to have a house to live in, or have to have their roof fixed, or their plumbing fixed. It's not optional; it's not discretionary spending, and that's what happened in the Weimar Republic. The educated classes, the employed, the doctors, and the bankers, and even the bankers and accountants, their wages never kept up with the currency debasement. Whereas people, mechanics and bakers, people who are on the front end of goods and services, they kept up because they would basically, okay, I'm not doing it now. If you're not paying me enough, I'm not doing it.
Right. Yeah, they're right there at the front of the line and they, like you say, they have to keep their family above water too. So not only do they follow the price of the goods, but they have their own cost of living they have to keep up with. So they're probably a good measure.
So it seems like we could be in that virtuous upward spiral of prices now. I mean, silver has been pretty dramatic, isn't it? Yesterday got down to 25.97, I think. About
45.97.
Did it get down to 25.45 briefly?
45, right? It didn't get down.
Oh, sorry.
I was like,
yeah, $45.97.
Well, to you, I mean,
then we're back up. I closed it over 48.
At 48, yeah. And it's funny that you're saying 25 because I've kind of done the same thing. And it's like, well, we were just dealing with 25, but now we're up here at 45.
When I write out an invoice for a tube of Silver Eagles and it's over $1,000, I think, shit, that used to be $500. It wasn't that long ago. Yep. Excuse my French then.
Yep. No, I know.
Like, I mean, 100-ounce bars. You're used to those being under 2,000.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, with most dealers are over $5,000 for that. Not for that one, but almost a generic 100-ounce.
Yeah.
$48. A lot of dealers are nearly $2 premium on a 100-ounce bar. And yeah, that's what you'll pay for a Royal Canadian Mint or a Pamp Suisse 100-ounce bar, $5,000.
Wow.
5 big ones.
Yeah.
So the argument that silver is too bulky,
that's changing quickly, isn't it? Yeah.
10 of those would get you a base F-150 nearly, maybe 11 of these. You could go into a dealer and get a brand new full-size pickup truck.
Wow.
Well, I can hold 5 in one hand, 6 in the other hand. Easy. That's a truck.
Right. That's crazy.
Or what's a modest car like a Toyota? What's the baseline?
Toyota Tundra
or a Toyota sedan, 25,000, 30,000.
Yeah.
So six of these now.
Right. Wow.
And I don't think this stops.
Yeah. And like you say, I think we're starting to hit that exponential phase where it's going to start snowballing a little bit. And
plus, with all the wars and the planned wars and all the defense spending and the planned defense spending, I think we are really actually going to run out of silver.
Yes.
Literally, physically, there isn't going to be enough for the industrial and particularly the military uses.
Industrial, yeah, and military, and the monetary demand has basically gone out of silver. But I think when we break over 50, some of that monetary demand is going to start coming back into it. And
it's coming back already. We've just got a new client, multimillionaire. He's known the lie of currency. He read The Creature from Jekyll Island when he was 21 years old. But his excuse was, well, first he was too poor, didn't have any spare income. And then he was too busy. And then he was too rich. And now he's realized, I need some protection.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I was talking with my wife a bit about that, and let's just mention 401ks. That's what a lot of people look at. They have a nice nest egg there. But that is the value wise, you've lost half of your value.
Because this year, if you compare it against silver,
this year, let alone the past 5 years, you probably doubled that and so that's hardcore right there.
Yeah, I mean, when you go in the bank and they try and sell you a certificate of destruction, and they're offering you 5% if you tie your dollars up for a year or 2 years. Yeah, it's literally when I read that report that Morgan Stanley said about 20% gold allocation, I went and saw my bank manager and I said, Mike, are your clients going to thank you in 2-3 years' time when you have lost them 50, 60, 70% of their purchasing power? And it's like, I haven't got time to be polite anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think people, it can be even more of a shock for a wealthy person to wake up poor than a poor person to stay poor.
Sure. Yeah. And like you're saying, that wealthy guy, when you have that big nest egg, I think it kind of gives you a false sense of comfort. But if you think about, you lost 50% of that just within the year, and then go back a couple more years and you can do the same thing again. And that, it doesn't matter how big your nest egg is when you start cutting your value in half, that should really start opening some people's eyes, I would think. So
Yeah.
scary,
Oh.
scary situation, scary stuff.
And they're all rising, aren't they? Gold, silver, platinum. They're all jockeying. They're all fast cars at the moment. It's interesting. I mean, platinum is fascinating. I'm convinced it was held down. Russia was dumping platinum below production costs, because I remember talking to David Morgan at New Orleans last year.
Yeah.
And he said it's at below the $800 was below the cost of production. But it stayed below the cost of production for over a year.
Yeah.
Why?
I agree.
Why? Somebody must have been dumping it on the market.
Yep. It was being held down. I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now what are we? 1,618.
Okay.
So that's 100%. Platinum's gone up.
Yeah.
Yep. So my little 1 ounce, let's hold it the right way up.
Yep.
With premium, these are over $1,700 now. So platinum has stepped into where gold was. Gold is going up. And gradually silver's going to step into where platinum is.
Yep. Silver's already pretty much been outperforming gold most of this year. There's been a few days where gold got a little ahead, but wait a couple days and silver was back on top again. So
yeah, I think the ratio is 81, just over 81. So
yep.
That's a big drop, because it was hanging around in the 101, 105, wasn't it, for a fair while?
Yep. In fact, right at the last time it was at about 100. I asked you about switching in from gold to silver, and you said, yeah, it's probably a good idea. And sure enough, that's been proven out for sure.
That's what we did. We wound down as much of our gold as we could just to keep a bare minimum.
Well, it was a good call. I've been pro silver all this time. I'm still pro silver. I'm excited to see what happens when we break this 50. Of course we might pull back a little bit, but once we break through that 50, I think that's going to be some alarm bells going off, and we still have so far to catch up that I could see some big moves.
Could easily happen Sunday evening. I remember you saying a while back we're going to see $1 and $2 days.
Oh yeah,
that's what we saw. In the last 24 hours of silver.
Yep.
So I think we got up to 28 and a half. Sorry, 48.
48. Yep. 48 and a half. We dropped back down a bit where we closed out at 48 or a little over, depending on where you're looking, but which puts me on my spinning bin at $50. This will be the first time I'm putting the 5-0 on the board. So
yeah. It's when I'm writing out an invoice for a monster box of Eagles, 26,000 and rising.
Wow.
It's I remember a local client, he was holding out for 13,000. It was only under 2 years ago. I think it was under 2 years ago, and I got him a good price, 13,200, and he said, "No, I'm waiting for 13,000."
Oh man. Right. Wow.
You try.
Yeah, right. Goodness. And that's what I talked last night about it is, I wish that people would wrap their head around a little bit more of the bigger picture, because I hear a lot of negativity of like, be careful at this $50 level, it's bound to really drop off. And
sure.
I just am so set on we're not even seeing anything. This is just, you're going to look back at this price and wonder why you didn't load up at $50. So
I think so.
Yeah. So well, okay. Let's just hit on this. Now, this was a bit ago now, but still a big enough deal with where we're at in silver, just getting started, in my opinion, and the U.S. calling it a critical mineral at this point.
It suggests, the USGS has suggested it goes on the critical list in their mid update. Yeah. That was a joke, but it was because it has been on previously, and it's been taken off, and it wasn't even mentioned on the last report. Wasn't even mentioned as a critical element, which is absolutely ridiculous. But interestingly, they suggested rhenium goes on as well, or rhenium, should I say, pronounce it the American way.
Okay.
So that's interesting, especially with the DLA. I think that's the Department of Logistic Acquisitions have put out requests for rhenium suppliers to supply 40 tons of pure rhenium and 25 tons of ammonia perrhenate, which is about equivalent of 18 tons. So the US government is asking for nearly 60 tons. Well, that's more than the whole world production. And the only big stockpiles are in China, and they're staying in China. So it's hotting up, and we're switching from trade wars, currency wars, into full-on commodity wars.
Commodity wars, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's huge, and I know we touched on this a bit before, but it just really does point out how we are just not only are the people not paying attention, the government evidently is not paying attention. I mean, to come up with an order like that's more than the annual production worldwide, and they're putting in an order for, I mean, what kind of a ridiculous, where was your foresight on that one, right?
Yeah, I mean, and then in between the two letters, they put out a letter saying, "Oh, by the way, we want to do it without causing the price to go up." Like, well, you don't put out a letter at all. You use proxies. You use companies. You contact people and say, persuade them to act on behalf, without being transparent where the rhenium is going. The last thing you do is say, we want 40 tons.
Right. I mean, it's so crazy to hear this coming down from top down. It's the same thing as like, oh, we'll just make a platinum coin cost $1 trillion. And it's like, facepalm, like, and then the same, oh, well, we'll just buy more than the world's annual supply, but we'll not make the price go up. It's like, what, really? Is this really where we're at today?
Yeah. I mean, China is decades ahead in planning for this.
Yeah,
literally decades ahead. In a whole range of key metals.
And the Shanghai exchange, right? Like, they're, just as you're mentioning, the Shanghai exchange is going to be a huge factor in going forward on these metals.
Yeah, I mean, with the LBMA available silver down to about 6 weeks now. What's going to happen when London says, no, we haven't got any physical? The COMEX says, no, we haven't got any physical. And Shanghai says, it's staying in the East.
Right.
No American buyers, no European buyers allowed. Or if you have a free trade agreement with us, maybe we'll sell you some silver. We're sort of screwed, aren't we, then?
I guess that's what it's sounding like. My goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah. So silver's outperforming gold. So, tariffs is something that we don't need. I was talking to my wife a little bit about the hidden tax, inflation. They talk about, oh, we'll cut down your taxes just a bit, when behind closed doors the inflation is just off the hinges, and people don't, they get excited for that little bit of tax cut, not realizing that inflation is eating you alive, and it's this hidden, and then we throw tariffs on top of that, and it's just frustrating to me to see how many different ways they're coming at us, and yet the population doesn't seem to catch the bigger picture of how we are getting hit. What's your take on the tariffs? Are you, in my opinion, from what I understand, mostly, at least for purchasing incoming goods, it's the people that pay the tax that goes or the tariff that goes straight to the government. So it's a tax on the people.
I mean, to start with, if the company that was importing into the US thought this was a temporary issue and they didn't want to lose market share, they're going to cut their price as far as they can. And, probably thinking, the problem will go away. The orange guy will wake up, get out the different side of bed, and everything will be fine.
Yeah.
That's not happened. Tariffs are being used as a political weapon. I mean, even against, was it that island of penguins? They've been tariffed.
Really? Well, I know
it's only inhabitants of penguins. They've got a 30% tariff. So, but it is, oh my gosh, if you're going to use it, you've got to use it surgically, and you've got to work things out, or
right,
knock-on effects. I mean, if we want to reindustrialize, I heard an expert talking about it. If we wanted to go back to what we were making in the 60s, when we were making everything here and exporting a lot of it, we would need all of the steel in the world to come to America to build all of the factories and the equipment and the machines and get the materials to go back to that. But slowly over decades, that's gone.
Yeah.
And the rest of the world isn't the same as it was in the 50s and 60s. Now you've got major manufacturing across the world. So we're not going to get back all that we had in exports. Can we make everything we need here? Absolutely. Can we make everything we want here? Absolutely not.
Yeah, definitely on the timeline needed.
We can't make everything we want. So you would need somebody who is rational, sane, a sound businessman to sit down and work out, well, what would you target? What do you want to protect? What is worth it costing more to have it made here? And right. I would think things like solar panels, semiconductors. I would have thought spare parts for vehicles. You don't want to be stuck if you're reliant on China for all of your spare parts, for all of your vehicles, all of the new parts. So you would pick very carefully certain areas, but to go in with a wrecking ball, it is only going to add to the deglobalization. But the deglobalization of the United States is missing out. What it's doing, it's shifting cooperation between other nations, and they don't need us.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, when you look how rude we've been to Canada. Canada has over 20% of the fresh water of the whole world. You look at the lakes in the Chicago area, along that section of the border, the amount of water that comes from Canada that is used in the US, 20%, I think 20% of the US electricity comes from Canada, 20% of the oil, 25% of lumber, just on and on. Nickel, cobalt, lithium, copper. It's all in the 20-something percent. Canada is finding other markets. They're building ports on both coasts. The seaways, the northern seaways, are opening up to be permanent. So they can now create a route from Asia to Europe that doesn't have to come into the US or through the US.
And we hit, from my understanding, we hit them with the big tariffs, and they dropped theirs, but we still haven't adjusted ours for them.
I think when you keep telling them they're going to be the 51st state,
yeah.
I think you're insulting the nation. And,
of course.
And I think they're saying no.
Yeah.
So everything is shifting.
Yeah.
I was convinced. You asked me a year ago, and you probably heard me say the US is set up with its trade partners to be probably the most powerful trading empire in the world. Yep. You know, with Britain and South Korea and Japan and New Zealand, Australia, Mexico, and Canada as key partners of free trade. We were set up to be able to make anything and everything at a low cost. So now we're going to have to choose. It's
ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
Yeah.
What's the reason behind it? I've heard some people talk the plan is to cause a collapse to get people rioting, to impose martial law, and to form a dictatorship. That's the actual plan. It's to wind people up so much that you can come down heavy on them. And
I wouldn't be far off from that type of a conspiracy.
And the consequences of cancelling US aid, the consequences of now China's not importing any soy, hundreds of small and medium farms, many 4, 5, 6 generation, are going bankrupt. Their land will be bought up by big conglomerates, and the control of the food production will become more and more concentrated. And we need the opposite. I mean, if you look at the parallel, the American banking system was about the best in the world when we had thousands of small regional banks who knew their clients, who knew their area, who knew their business, didn't take risks, didn't gamble on futures and derivatives and all of that day trading crap. They just did sound banking with people they knew in a community they knew.
Local community, right. I've heard that.
Made that community resilient, because if it got tough, it wasn't down on somebody's FICO store, worked out by computers in some data center.
Yeah.
It was personal understanding and a handshake. And when we lose that, well, when you lose accountability, but you lose stability, and you lose stability, people become less anchored, don't they? And if people become less anchored, they become more easily swayed to one extreme or the other. I mean, if you take everything away from somebody, communism can look very appealing.
Right.
And if you convince somebody who's had everything taken away from, well, it's the brown person's fault.
Right.
Being racist can be very appealing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like anything to solve the problem, that probably wasn't even caused by you.
Right. Or you pay a bunch of illegals to come in, and then you say, well, digital ID will fix the problem.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the undocumented workforce. One of the original encouragers of it was when African American workers wanted to be paid the same as white American workers. And the corporations and the employers said no. They opened the floodgates and brought in undocumented workers to do the work, who would work for less and have no benefits and no job security. It was corporations originally who opened the floodgates for unhindered immigration. So there's been huge, one of the things that gets me is where the hate comes in. Everybody is of infinite value. It doesn't matter, even if you want to grade somebody on a 1 to 10 for strength, for intelligence, for skills, or whatever. It doesn't matter what fraction of infinity, it's still infinity. So everybody is of infinite value. That to me, it's a mathematical fact, let alone a spiritual fact. So we are at a time that we're increasing the debasement rate of the currency. We're reducing the productive workforce. Yeah. What's that going to equal? Even more what people call inflation, the costs of goods and services going up.
Yeah.
And you can keep inflating a system as long as your workforce you're producing more and you've got more workers. But you try inflating the system and reduce your effective workforce, you're going to create an inflationary time bomb. And I think that's what we're doing. I mean, you look at I don't know what the cost of construction in Denver is doing, but here it's just going vertical.
Yeah.
With sort of $500, $600 a square foot, or a big mansion, $2,000 a square foot.
Yeah.
It's just going crazy.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, well, I think you touching on the corporate, that's been a big problem here in the USA. Somehow, somewhere along the way, well, I suppose the United States of America becoming a corporation might have been the beginning of some of the problem.
Yeah.
We really have switched our model over, and corporate policy is like becoming law, and it's just twisting everything up. And yeah, I agree with you. That's a big issue. And then we talked about Canada and the wall that we're seeming to build in between us, and the same, with silver, what we're looking at silver, and the way we're treating Mexico. That if we shut Mexico off of our silver,
yeah, it's the same situation. I mean, I'll go back to silver, rhenium. We have no substitute for the pretty well all of the uses for silver. I mean, if it gets as expensive as gold, you could use gold instead.
Right.
But but that's not tenable, is it? For
right.
silver,
that's not
$4,000 an ounce. Not yet, anyway. So yeah, we are at risk of being under the stranglehold of nations who've got the critical minerals and metals that we need to just maintain our existing production. I mean, the figures for rhenium are stunning. That the US uses over 70% of the world's rhenium, yet we only produce 30% of it. So we have to import the difference. Well, what if Chile says, we're not doing it. You can't have it anymore, or Poland or Kazakhstan. The effect would be Boeing would have to cease. They could make their airplanes, but they wouldn't have any engines to put in them. We could build a gas-fired power station, but we wouldn't have the turbines to run it. We could build a refinery, but we wouldn't have the rhenium compounds to be the catalysts for refining the gasoline. Just on and on and on. We are so vulnerable. That's the problem. If you want to dismantle a globalized trading system, just-in-time system as well, where we didn't really have any stockpiles. And the DLA have been selling down stockpiles to pay, because part of their stockpiles was part of the pension funds for the military. So they've been selling reserves down to cover the shortfall in their pension obligations. And now they're waking up, and the price of everything is doubled or trebled from where it was when they sold it.
Right, and let's put an order for more than we produce a year, but
more than the world produces. Yeah. It is incompetent doesn't begin to cover it. So there's
I just always keep falling back, and especially like hearing what you're saying today. It just seems so too bad that it couldn't have been not. I mean, it seems so purposeful to me. At this point, the more I've looked into it, the more research I've done, I really truly struggle to think that we could be that ignorant.
Yeah.
So.
But at the end, the big picture, and I don't know what everybody's spiritual understanding or views or beliefs are watching this, who may or will watch this in the future. But the big picture is Satan's operation is to kill, cheat, destroy, lie. Yeah. He will use anybody against anybody. He has no sides. He has no allegiance. He has no political party. He has no race, no creed, no religion that he favors. He will use anybody to hurt somebody else.
That's a good point.
When you understand that, maybe we could be more resilient to some of this rubbish that our government pours upon us time after time.
That's
why are you doing this? Because this is unnecessarily hurting and killing people. It's fine for Elon Musk to hold the chainsaw up and say, cuts, the chainsaw, he's going to cut 2 trillion. But what have they done? They've added 5 trillion.
Yeah.
It's fine for them to say, we're just dismantling USA. There's corruption there. The consequence of that, 14 million people will die. The consequences of that, dozens, if not hundreds of farmers will kill themselves this week, next month, because they've lost the family farm, multi-generation farm, because they put all the inputs in and they got a crop that they have to plow back in.
Right.
And their line of credit, they're now being asked for 16%, and they haven't got security, and they haven't got it because they're maxed out. So the damage you cause from that, one story really sticks in my mind. There was a 5-year-old orphan called Ethan. He was being kept alive in an African country from USAID, being distributed, and his antivirals are 14 cents a day. He's an orphan, 5 years old. Well, that stopped. So he died. Why? 14 cents a day? Just I don't know. I guess to make those decisions, either you blinker yourself so much that you don't even see it, so you pretend it's not happening, or you know it's happening, you know it's the consequences, and you do it anyway. You know, it's to me that's murder just as much in a way as when you steal somebody's retirement with this financial system we've got, when you steal all of their effort that they stored up for 40 years and now they haven't got it to retire on, you know, not so they have to carry on working. That's murder as well. So I don't think people would act like this if they realized what the spiritual picture was, that they were being used as a tool to hurt another human being.
Yeah, and that's what I'd like to point out about what you're saying, and kind of the whole topic tonight is, you know, the farmers who end up, you know, losing their generational family farm, and they end their life because of it. You know, I really wish that a message that I would like to get out is, look, that a lot of this is purposefully being done. Now, if it goes back to the devil or where you want to put the blame, let's set that aside. But once you realize, look, we are in a war, you know, and it's, you know, you didn't lose the farm because you weren't trying, you didn't do things right. It's that, look, you're being attacked from several different angles, and it's not your fault that you know, and so that, I don't know, we gotta change ourselves, understand that we are under attack, that things are coming against us, but to yet remain strong, and that to know that it's not just us doing something wrong. It's that, you know, either our leaders are the most stupid, you know, that you can't even describe, or it's purposefully done, which is more what I lean towards.
I think they cover the whole spectrum. I think there's some some are just useful idiots.
That's probably true.
And some are controllable people that their own proclivities and their own desires that are not healthy, their motivations are, you know, not godly centered,
right?
And they're useful to put harm on other people. I mean, the whole, and I'll get so much criticism, I don't know, but I'm going to say it anyway. It is rubbish that America hasn't got a health system that is free at the point of need. It is rubbish. It's crap. I mean, Israel has one.
Canada.
And we pay for it. So what's about? Everybody will say, oh, you know, you can't do that. If government runs it, it's rubbish, it's terrible. But we pay for Israel to have one.
Yeah.
They seem quite happy with their health system. That is rubbish. That if by bad luck you get a brain tumor or cancer, or you get run over, just something really bad happens to you, that even with good healthcare coverage, you're going to get bankrupted.
Yeah.
You know, if you have a real severe illness, you're going to run out of what you can claim. You're going to reach your lifetime limit and not get reinsured. It's like,
and not be done working on what
you know, and okay, yeah, people could say, well, you chose to come here, an immigrant. Yeah, but I think I have I've spent a lot of time talking to my dad, and he remembers when the National Health Service arrived in the UK after the Second World War. Britain was on its knees. We owed America all of our gold and some. Well, we'd given America pretty well all of our gold, and we owed America huge amounts of money. Yet somehow we built a National Health Service. Now, it wasn't perfect then, it's not perfect now, but we did it. And my dad, it's really poignant. I could feel emotion when he told me. He said he remembered as a young boy, when it came, well, as a teenager, when it came out, the relief in poor families, and he was from a very poor family, the relief that if you got ill, you didn't have to find the shilling, because if you didn't have that shilling, that 6 pence, you didn't go to the doctor. And people died for not having a few pennies.
Ooh.
Then when the health service came in, if you got ill, you went to the doctor, and you didn't die.
Yeah.
It's like, now it's gone crazy, and they've extended it to cover way too many things, I think. But it's a sign of the theft of people's effort, as over the decades, productivity has increased. The wealth of corporations is increasing exponentially, yet the workers don't get a cut of it.
Right.
And that's part of it, because we've got multi-trillion business interests in keeping the system we've got. You've got insurance companies and high-priced medical goods providers and drugs, high-priced drugs and everything, that make huge trillions of dollars of profit. And to my mind, that is not
right
civilization.
No, you wouldn't want to hear what I think about the whole warp speed and what happened there, and the money that was made off of it.
And I mean, who talks about that? Seen anybody in a MAGA hat going warp speed? No. He was misled. He was badly advised.
Yeah. Oh, excuses. But yeah, exactly. I don't want to go down that trail. But Stacking Surfer makes a point here. A big problem is our food supply making us sick, and that's another one of those things that it just goes to show me that this is not by chance. But again, however you look at it, it is ridiculous where we're at with that.
We do our best to eat everything local, and it's a big choice. You pay a lot more to do it. Outside I can see I've got my potato patch out there.
I was just gonna say my in-laws are over, and they were just out kind of cleaning up our garden because it's starting to get towards the chilly side of fall. But we've been working on our garden, and it's nice. It's nice to have your own stuff and some fruits that we have. We have some fruit bushes and berries and whatnot. It's pretty sweet to be able to pull your own fruit.
I got a big shout out to Chad from Utah. He brought me 2 jars of home bottled peaches that he grew himself. Oh my gosh, those
nice.
They're not going to last into the winter though.
Yep.
But it's hard, isn't it? If you concentrate, I mean, half the American population is in an dense urban environment. Now, if you're in the suburbs, you can grow. But what if you're in a tenement building, in an 18-story apartment block? You can do a window garden. You might be able to do a few pots of stuff.
Right.
You can't really grow hundreds of pounds of potatoes and carrots and onions very easily.
Yeah.
You're sort of stuck, aren't you?
Yeah.
Buying what you can get.
Yeah.
But the food is crazy. The amount of chemicals that are allowed that are banned. They're banned in China. Some of the food chemicals that we're allowed here, some of the colors and preservatives. It is.
Yeah. That's what, like Lynette says, work on your community. And in some of these, inner city places, sometimes there are like shared gardens that you can go find. And we should probably be focusing in on more on those types of things. And someone here, Stacking Surfer, again, talking about using chemicals on our stuff. And we were talking about the farmers earlier. And that's a huge problem, is like you have the corporation, speaking of corporations, Monsanto. I don't know if you've ever looked much into Monsanto.
Oh, there's 2, isn't there? There's another one, BASF. They're the other. Okay. They're the other big seed giant. Yeah, it's horrific.
It's horrific what they're doing to people, the laws that they're passing.
There used to be a U.S. government department that gave out seeds for free.
Wow.
And the deal was you'd give feedback on how your crop behaved and, what soil you used, what water, how you grew it, what the results were. They gave out quality seeds for free. Now, that to me is a sensible use of government.
Right.
That's good, because you're collecting all that data. You can analyze it for the different regions, the temperatures, the soil types. That is, wow, that's the sort of stuff government should be doing, helping people grow their own food.
Instead, we're trying to restrict it, and that's no joke.
Yeah.
I mean, no joke.
Some states, they're raiding farms that do the raw milk, aren't they? They come in.
Yep. You can't buy or sell raw milk without getting arrested half of the.
Yeah.
And you know, it's ridiculous how they're treating some of these things, like the bird flu. They might find one sick chicken out of thousands, and they'll cull the entire area. And it's like, there's got to be a smarter way to handle that.
Well, I think not have such huge industrial units.
Yeah, that for one.
That would be one way.
and then there's another example. I was just watching this ostrich farm. They had, and these tests that bring them up positive is a whole nother subject. But they came up positive, and then they became immune to it because they all fought their way through it. But they're still going to cull them anyway. And it's like, this is not thinking straight, people. So
no, I mean, I think it was the false negatives or the false positives were like in the 40%.
Oh, it's ridiculous. Yes. And they're proven to be false positives, and yet you're going to cull an entire thousands of birds possibly for a false positive.
Did you know, because of the egg shortage, we actually imported eggs from Russia?
I heard that. Oh, really? I didn't know from where, but I knew they were important. Yeah.
We imported eggs from Russia.
There you go. Yeah. Well, you know, this little bit of silver that I'm holding in my hand has 2x since I got it. It was about $50 when I was first holding it in my hand. Now we're at about 200.
Yeah.
And you know, this exponential climb is going to keep going. And you know,
I don't think it's really a climb. I think it's just beginning to give account for the currency debasement. I think it's just beginning. So I don't think it's really done any climbing yet.
Yeah.
I think the climbing is $5-10 days.
Right.
I think this is just doing its warm up. Just literally, it's not even left the starting blocks. It's just doing its warm up exercises and.
Yep, and I think I've heard some people talking about, statistically wise, we're pushing third world country status the way we're headed, you know. And I think people just get in a mindset that they think that can't be happening. But like you said, in 1 year, our 401ks, your nest egg has probably lost half its value, and that's not even going back 5 years.
And that's just the initial move in gold.
Yeah.
Because gold hasn't done a full accounting anywhere near.
Yep.
And yet that's about the best measure we've got of how other things should be performing. And they're not. Hence Morgan Stanley saying you need 20% gold.
Right. Man, that is a big statement. I'm actually
but if they'd said that 2 years ago, you would have only needed 10% gold. Because it would have doubled.
Wow.
You know what I mean? You'd have 20% gold now as a weighting.
That's a good point. I didn't think about that. That's a good point.
Yeah. And then they'd be saying, "Oh, you need to sell a bit of gold off. You got too much gold."
That's a good point.
With that big mortgage company buying so many gold eagles about 10 days ago, that they forced up the wholesale premium and the availability. You know, some gold eagles are on back order now. They bought so many. Wow. One mortgage company.
Wow.
So if a mortgage company is buying gold, that tells you they think gold is a better store than mortgage
land. And yeah. Well, I would agree. I mean, I think they've held the metals down and let land run a little bit, probably for that reason, to keep the metals down. And so and like you say, even though these seem like some big moves for some of us who are in there, I don't think it's even began to start keeping accounting. But once, and this is kind of going to be possibly a worldwide thing where all of the fiat currencies are going to start looking for a place to put their value.
Yep.
And at some point, gold and silver will be the commodity that does start increasing in value over all other commodities, because it's the best commodity to preserve your value. So that would only make sense, and it's what history has proven out time and time again in these situations, right? So
yeah. Yeah, I mean, Mike Maloney gave an update to some figures from his book, and he said the current rate of increase of currency from now to 1980 is 80 times. When he wrote the book 4 years ago, it was 55 times.
There you go.
So with the recent currency debasement from when he wrote the book, we're now 80 times.
Yep, and it's not going to probably be slowing down much from here. I mean, I guess I didn't see it, but supposedly Trump was just talking more stimulus checks. So I don't think we're going to be slowing down on the inflation anytime
I know
soon.
what I did with my stimulus checks.
I can tell you what I'm going to do with mine
before they'd even hit the bank.
Yeah,
I said thank you very much.
Yep. And yeah, it's funny, you know, you like it when you get it, but for anybody that knows reality, you better get that spent quick because all you're doing is devaluing the existent currency out there. So
yeah,
it's a sad thing when you know what's going on.
And we're in that situation now. It's too late to cut interest rates to stimulate the economy. It won't work.
We should be going the other way with interest rates, right? I mean, we should be raising them, but here we are cutting them.
There's no way from here to a sound money economy without a collapse.
Right.
So it's how you do. How can you control that collapse? What if you believe that? And I don't think anybody in government does, apart from Scott Bessent, because he's got loads of gold. But again, he's not a financial genius. He took a 5 billion hedge fund and turned it into 500 million. He lost 90%.
Oh.
But anyway, what you would be doing is, okay, what do we need? We need food, we need water, we need energy, we need housing, we need clothes. How are we going to secure that for the population whilst we rewrite the rules, switch to a sound money economy? That's the best you could do. There is no gentle transition. I mean, Mises was 100% correct when he said 2 ways an inflationary system ends. Collapse if you stop inflating it, i.e. go sensible.
Yep.
Or if you carry on inflating it, which is what we're doing, catastrophic collapse.
Yep.
Those you take
those
choose your poison. Choose your poison.
Sadly, it will be the latter.
There's room for individuals, like we have done, to move as much of your wealth as you can. You know, I mean, for myself, I have 0 stocks, shares, nothing, no Fugazi. I have no Bitcoin, no crypto, no Ethereum, none of the latest platform that's always supposed to be the one. Yep. Every week there's something. This is going to be the one. You buy this, it's going to make you a millionaire. No, it's not.
Yeah,
I haven't got anything untangible.
You haven't heard about the purple tulips? Well, at least tulips were tangible, right? Like,
well, for a while, yeah. For a while, you were the only one in your country that had a black tulip till next year. Yeah, like. So there's only a route for a few individuals because the transfer of wealth is really just a balancing out, a reckoning of what was unreal into what is real.
Yeah.
And there's only room for a few people to do that, a small amount of wealth to do that, till what they're moving into becomes unaffordable and unobtainable.
Till you got the U.S. buying up more than the world's mine supply in one.
Oh yeah, on rhenium, yeah, wanting to buy, yeah, when there was no slack in the system, yeah, and we'll have to have it if we want to keep building F-47s and the SR-72 and missiles and rockets and satellites and oil refineries and medical uses, high-end electrical uses now coming online with rhenium and rhenium oxides and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, I heard there was just some breakthrough with it, like in coding. Coding something. I can't remember.
The layers in microchips. Yeah. Some compounds of rhenium. So if we're going to carry on doing any of that stuff, we just have to pay whatever price is asked.
Yeah, if they're not careful, they're going to end up with their $1 trillion platinum coin. It's just not going to happen the way they were expecting.
Well, realistically, I can see what could happen. I mean, if Mexico shut down exporting silver to the US, they could say, yeah, we'll give you silver, but we'll take gold as payment. Because if you follow the logic through, when we had gold fixed at $35 and it was exchangeable for foreign nations at $35, we kept doing that till it was looking like we were going to run out of gold.
Yeah.
So we went from 22,000 tons to 8,000 tons. From 34 through to 71, we burnt through 14,000 tons of gold, honoring that. So the next logical thing was, well, we don't need gold industrially in quantity. We only need it in small amounts, and we can keep that in a closed loop and recycle it. Plus, we do mine gold here. We could probably mine more than mine enough gold for our industrial uses. But for monetary uses, well, what if everybody who's got critical silver, rhenium, super hard alloys, the tungstens, antimony, germanium, I don't know, space miners here, he'd list off 100 metals. What if they say, yeah, you can have them, but the price is so many ounces of gold per kilo of this stuff that you need?
Yeah.
What choice would we have? Either start a war with them and steal it, or pay in gold. And I never really thought of that. That's what those nations should really do, isn't it? They should stop. No, we're not taking dollars anymore. We'll take gold.
Yeah.
You've got 8,800 tons of it. Just crank up those mines in Arizona and Nevada and Wyoming, and, you know, just open up all your gold mines, start cranking it. That would be wow. And that's how economies used to work, wasn't it? And then, you know, when countries started running out of gold, they'd have to make something that they could export and get gold back. Yep. So you had a balance, but with this over financialization, we have lost all
realities have been
everything is hyper financialized.
Yep.
Yep.
Cool, Ian. Well, we're hit 7 o'clock here, so why don't you tell everybody what you got for deals out there, and we'll.
Yeah, I mean, deals are getting harder, but we can do 90% constitutional at 60 cents back of spot. So nice to see a negative premium and a fairly big one.
Woo.
We do have a part of these platinum 1 ounce eagles, which are getting pretty hard to get hold of.
I heard that
they didn't do a business strike of them last year. I don't know if they minted any. I've not seen any current years. Other stuff is getting harder to get hold of. We have got some Armenian Noah's Ark 1 ounce at $1.50. That's about your lowest price sovereign coin now.
Okay.
Eagles are pushing up. Wholesale prices gone up 30 cents pretty quickly.
Eagles are on the rise, huh?
The 90% will be next. Once Eagles start moving, the demand, people switch to 90%. People who just want American. That's your only two choices, really. And then we are getting stuff coming in regularly on the secondary market, but that tends to go the same day or the next day locally. If you wanted to spend 1,000 or 2,000, give me a ring and I can put your name down. I can give you an allocation of what comes in on the secondary market, because there's less and less of that now, and the wholesalers are telling the same story. They were flooded when silver broke into the mid-30s last year, absolutely flooded, you know, and now I can go to the second largest wholesaler in the world. I can buy 3 boxes of discounted maples, and that's it. That's all I got. Then they're on to the current year at the full price. I can go to another one, and they've got a box or 2. You know, we're not seeing any large quantities of discounted product now.
Yeah, that's what, and it's. I don't know if you'd call it funny or it's frustrating to me, but yeah, the retail up front has been dead asleep.
Yep.
And here the premiums on the back end have been, I mean, you know, the metals are being bought up on the back end in big quantities from what I'm hearing. And now those premiums are going to come out front to the asleep market out here, and they're going to be locked out, and
we're still in a sweet spot, because when you look at as a percentage of your total price, the premiums are still historically low, even if they rise a fair bit from here.
Yeah,
they're still lower premiums when silver was $20.
Right. Yep. Yeah, premiums are ridiculously low here.
You say your premium is, it is. It's hard to remember what it is as a percentage of your purchase.
Yeah.
So I mean, $4.80 would be 10%. So $2.40 would be 5%.
Right.
$1.40 would be 2.5%. So that's a good calculation to keep doing.
Right. Yep. Good point. Yeah, it's the premiums that aren't a problem right now, and it's just the price is rising, and it is. It's just it isn't even started yet, guys. So don't get scared to get in here. We, like me looking back when I started buying at 15. Now I wish, of course, why couldn't I have bought more? Well,
sure.
You're gonna feel that same way here at 50. Going, in another year or two, you're gonna say, man, I shouldn't have been nervous to get into it. In my opinion, not advice, but we got so much room to move still. So. All right, awesome, Ian. Thank you so much for coming out here.
You're welcome.
Talking with us, and greatly appreciate it.
Let's be cheerful, because I presume most of the people watching it have got precious metals. You're way ahead.
Yes, good point. Yep.
I mean, I got one 75-year-old guy in Florida. I won't say his name. I'll say, Bobby will be fine. Hello, Bobby. he buys 3 ounces a month when his Social Security comes in.
There you go.
And he says, get it out of my account quick before my wife sees we've got money. But it's built up.
It does. It adds up, man.
And every now and then he hits a crisis, and he's got a local guy who'll pay him really good top dollar, and he'll sell an ounce if he needs to.
Yep.
And it's not a spread, because I look after him. I charge him really crazy cheap. So it does make a difference.
It makes a huge difference. And
if you can get a good relationship with a good dealer.
That's what I was going to say. Get a good relationship with a...
They will pay you way much more if you need to sell. Especially if it's only a few ounces. Okay,
Right.
Because we're getting to that point where how much rainy day fiat dollars do you want?
Right.
To get stuck with,
Not many for me, I can assure you. So yeah, find yourself a good dealer. Ian here, he's been great to me. He's great. He's coming out here and talking with me in my small channel and just trying to get the word out. And he's been great to me and my friends, the people who've worked through him. So I feel lucky to have him on my channel. And this, whether it's Ian or someone in your local town, get to know him. Do business with them, get that rapport going, so that if you do need to cash in at some point, you have somebody solid to go to.
Yeah, and they'll advise you what to sell to get the best return on at that point in time.
Indeed,
and that varies hour to hour of every dealer.
Right.
If I'm awash with eagles, I don't want to buy any more eagles. If I'm short of maples, I want to buy maples, and I'll pay. Sure. Over wholesaler to get a few tubes in, so they're in the store ready to go. So
good point, right?
And unfortunately, we're going to see a lot of coin shops shut. A lot of them are run by people who've been doing it for decades. They're worn out.
Sure.
And my friend Roy, been in the business 42 years. He's trained almost everybody in the industry. He knows so many dealers. He says so many of them are just waiting to shut the doors. When they can feel they can retire comfortably, just shut the doors and live off their inventory. We're going to lose those resources. So I don't know how we get more opening up. I mean, I tell you what, Longlive, the effort it takes to start and build a bullion business is flipping crazy hard. It's crazy hard when times are good. So I don't know, because really every town should have a good coin shop.
We're going to need them. There's no doubt about that. Yep.
Yeah, because even if it's an arbitrator to help people in bartering decide, what is, in effect, the coin shop could well become the new bank in the area.
Yeah, and I really feel like I was talking with Space Mine earlier about this, we've been ridiculously hammered down. We're working on such tiny low premiums on things that it has really got to a ridiculous point, and it kind of needs to change in that, we need to keep these businesses open. Your local coin shop shuts down. You're gonna wish that you'd have paid that extra 10 cents a coin to keep him going, so that you have somewhere to go.
Oh my gosh, the number of people that told me that they spent millions at Costco to get their credit card points. It's like, well, if you'd come to me, I probably could have got you a deal that would have been the same without the hassle.
Yep. And you're keeping that connection when you're going to really need him. That's going to be the key.
Exactly. Yeah. And now Costco are actually clawing that back. They're clawing it back from people who've done it just to get the card points. So that's going south, that deal.
Sure.
And I think overall it was really good that Costco did it, because it brought everybody who went into Costco.
Awakening,
gold. Silver, what's that?
Right. Yeah. All right, indeed. Good deal. Yep, guys, get a hold of Ian, or go find somebody and get your fiat exchanged and sleep better.
Or if you're feeling really crazy, set up your own coin shop.
Right. Yeah. All right, awesome. Thank you so much, Ian. We'll have you back again here shortly, and we'll do it again. So thank you so much for coming on. Everybody out there in chat, thanks for hanging out, and we will catch you all on the next one. Thanks, everybody.